say, and I'm very sure if you are seeing me for the very first time, I am a social worker, and basically what we have identified in my line of practice is some of the achievement of blacks or maybe minority groups, which is definitely sometimes not made the airwaves. What we have actually done is we've created a platform which is called Black Next Gen. What Black Next Gen is doing is we are going around the country, we may be going globally, looking for people who are primarily black or mainly from minority ethnic groups. What we're doing is we are looking for stories. We're looking for your story, our stories, to be able to tell for our next generations, to hear and equally be encouraged to understand that, you know what, this is our time. We need to change this narrative. We need to change some of the beliefs that, you know what, are made or that are told that our children sometimes, or even ourselves as parents, maybe continue to second guess ourselves. So the very interesting thing is recently I did interview a young lady who is in Oxford University. The very interesting thing is she's black. She's talked about her story, how she got into Oxford University. So all that I will say to you is if this is the very first time that you are seeing us, you know, on any form of your gadgets, what we'll definitely encourage is please subscribe, you know, so that you can have further videos of this nature. Do share with your networks, do share with your colleagues. And equally, you know, if you can click on the notification button, then it means whenever there is further videos, you can get access to it. Now, let me jump on straight away to the reason why I'm coming to see, I'm here today. So as a social worker in my line of practice, it is very interesting where I have to work, or I do work with children who are in local authority care. Now, when children are placed in local authority care, most of the time, the local authorities seek to place children with foster carers. Now, what does happen is, unfortunately, in the UK, there is statistics to confirm that foster carers, most of the time, are not of black and minority backgrounds. So guess what? I have been going around looking for foster carers who are not just foster carers, people who actually do care, people who actually look like me, people who actually have a history to tell you, or maybe myself as parents, so, or equally as a professional, so that one, if you want to be a foster carer, or equally, if you want to understand what it takes to be a foster carer, we've definitely nailed it. I have got two amazing people that you may never, you know, possibly seeing them on the high street, you may never think of them to be foster carers, and I think that is mainly the reason why I wouldn't do the introduction. I will be requesting that you stay tuned, you watch it, and possibly, you know, share with your colleagues so that they know we've got foster carers who are black. And stand by as I introduce these very two important people. Okay. So guys, just like I told you, in terms of my line of profession as a social worker, I do work with children or young people who are in local authority care. Now, one of the interesting things, just like I said, is the issue of where children live or who they live with when they are in local authority care. Lo and behold, I came across a foster carer who, you know, I took my hat off, mainly because, you know, they are black, you know, they are from a minority background, and they have a story to tell. So I have on this very interesting seat, I had to drive down to come and meet Angela. And it's not just Angela that we'll be talking to. I know her husband is more or less her backup, but I definitely will be coming to see her husband as well, so that you know that she's not by herself. She's got a support network around her. Angela, do you please mind introducing yourself to everybody?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Angela. I live currently in Slough, and I'm a mother of 2 birth children and 1 stepson, and can proudly boast that I've got 11 grandchildren.
Oh.
And my whole life evolves around working and just filling my time with children.
That's great. That's great. And I'm sure some parents by this time will be saying, why do you waste your time with children? They are a nightmare. Get rid of them, you know. But the very interesting thing is Angela and her husband have chosen, you know, to work with children, and most especially children who, for some reason, are not able to live with their families, which is really, really important. Angela, let's go straight to the point. How many years have you been fostering children?
So, I mean, sometimes you love your job so much that you often forget how long you've been doing it. But I think a last check was about 17, probably coming into 18 years this year.
Of fostering?
For fostering.
Wow. And for the 17 years, how many children have you fostered so far?
So we had so much fun earlier on in the week when we were talking about me retiring and looking back.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. We need
Our
you.
last count, I
We need you.
think, was about 47 children.
47 children. So we've had 47 children come through Angela and her husband's door, who for some strange reason, are not able to live with their families. But what it is we need the likes of Angela, we need the likes of her husband, Richard. Just like I said, Richard would definitely, come on the screen. He definitely said to me, no, I don't want to do it. But I think he's doing, they are both doing an amazing thing, which we definitely need to be able to project. Angela, for me, as a professional, what I usually don't find is people who look like you, people who look like me, taking on the role as foster carers, okay? What made you decide you wanted to be a foster carer?
So from a very early stage, and I'm going back into my own life, when I was about 4 years old, my mother got married to a gentleman who eventually adopted me. But also growing up, I experienced my mother work for a local authority as a childminder and gave a lot of her own time and into looking after children. I wasn't sure that fostering was my call, and I went into teaching, so I was also known as a teacher for 16 years. And I worked with children who were not able to go into mainstream education. So the church that I attended, they opened up a school that eventually became a grant-maintained school. And just seeing that, black children and black families had probably the least opportunities in their life. And eventually my own network of friends, one of the young men that I knew really well became a foster carer, and he asked me if I would consider coming to work in a children's home. And I did. I did that for experience and eventually stayed on there and became the deputy manager of the home. And one day I was going home and one of the children turned to me and said, "Can I come and live with you? You're going, can I come and live in your house?" And it just opened up an opportunity that I had not considered. And I came home, discussed it with Richard, my husband, and he said yes, but he wanted to know the pros and cons. But working with looked after children, absolutely, my children were grown up. Why couldn't they come and live with me?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really, really amazing. So there was a history maybe within your family. You had the opportunity to be teaching. You had the opportunity within the church itself where you may have had the opportunity to speak to people in terms of networking. And I think that is one of the main things that Black Next Gen does. We are looking at the opportunities for people to be able to network and show others how to be able to move from one stage to the other. So if anybody is out there thinking, you know what, I wanted to be a foster carer, but I never knew Black people can do it. This is the answer, where we have somebody who looks like you, who is equally, Black. But possibly when I was having maybe pre-discussion with Angela, she told me a bit more about her own mixed heritage. So when we are talking about Blacks, it's not just about being Black. We are talking about, minority groups. Angela, let's take us back to where you were born. Are you born British?
No, absolutely not. I'm a very proud Jamaican.
Whoa.
I was born in Jamaica. I did my preschool education in Jamaica and came to the UK when I was about 4. But always had a longing to be back home in Jamaica. But my mother was amazing. She always made sure that we went back. But yes, my heritage is Jamaican. But I got married to a husband also half Jamaican, but his parents are split. So his mother was or is Jamaican Indian, but with his father is with a Surinese background. So we are a very, very mixed family.
Okay, okay. And maybe let's still stick to Jamaica. So you left Jamaica at the age of what, 4 years?
4 years
For England?
for England.
Would you say that was a big mistake you did?
No.
Okay.
I think I was presented with opportunities that I might not have had I remained in Jamaica. And culturally, we don't talk about adoptions and fostering in Jamaica. I knew that my calling from a very early age was with children. In Jamaica, the extended family look after children, but in a very, very different way. There are no regulations, but I think with my years of experience, I understand that the regulations not only protect you as a foster carer, it protects the child.
Okay.
So, no, it has not been, and it never was a bad move coming.
That's great. That's great. I think for me, if I am thinking about why did I ever come into this country, is because of winter. I hate winter, yeah? So why did I leave the sunshine? And I think everybody else will want to buy that additional sunshine. Let's go back to, whilst you were living in England or whilst you've been living in England. So at that very young age of 4, how was your relationship like with your mom, who was then living in England whilst you were in Jamaica?
I think initially it was a very, very long time ago, but initially I didn't recognise my mother as being my mother. She left me when I was about a year and a half to begin a life in England and met my sister's father, who became my stepfather. So I associated with my mum as being an aunt. So I know it's people go into professions, and I did mention to you when we had the pre-talk that the experience that I experienced as a child, having to learn to love someone who I didn't know very well and probably didn't bond with, and then having to deal with having a step parent and a sister thrown at me, it was very difficult. And throughout my life, I've always gone back to my experience as a child, to making me who I am today, and having sympathy and my favourite word, empathy.
That's great.
with my young people, because when they come to me, they in the same way that I was removed from what I knew and what I loved and who I loved and cared for, and having to learn, even though they were my family. It was very difficult.
Okay, okay. So from that particular experience, would you say you are then able to empathize with the children who come and live with you?
Absolutely.
In order for them to be able to possibly feel at home?
Do you know, a lot of people come into fostering for different reasons, but the most important thing as a foster carer is being able to love a child that is not your child. And I think from my own experience, the way that I was loved and cared for gave me an ammunition. It was almost like you start your life with a gun, but somebody has to load it for you, for you to be able to fire it and get outcomes. And having that kind of a background, I was able to associate with my children when I was teaching them, and my children when I was working in residential care, and now my fostering home. So to have children come into your fostering home and love them and appreciate them, my experience has helped having, it's helped me to get outcomes for my children. And in the same way that my parents pushed me to get an outcome for me, I'm able to relate to that and say to my young people, be who you are, love who you are. And your circumstances don't determine your future, you determine your future. And that's what I was taught as a child. And it's led me to loving my job.
That's great. That's great. So people go to job 9 to 5, and I believe fostering it's more or less 24/7.
It is.
Okay. So you wake up in the morning, you are with the child or the young person. You go to bed, you are still with the child or the young person.
Absolutely.
Does it not become scary?
Yes, it does. But when, as a mother, you know, and it helps if you're a parent because you've had some experience in bringing up children, although it's not necessary. But with your children, from the day that you decide as a parent that you're going to have a child, you know within yourself that that child is with you 24/7,
Okay.
from morning till night, for the rest of their life. So when you become a foster carer, that responsibility comes with the child,
Okay.
that you have to love them unconditionally.
That's great. So maybe just for our fans out there who may be in other parts of the world who, this whole thing about foster care and all these things may not make sense to you. Basically, what it means is in England or maybe in the UK and many other countries, when a child is deemed that they are not able to live with their family for different reasons, the government through local authorities do find alternative, adults who may be family or who may be professionals, just like Angela and her husband Richard, to be able to look after, children. And for that reason, these children will live with, a foster carer until it is deemed, appropriate for them to go back to family, or equally, until they turn 18. And some children may even continue to live with the foster carers because they still feel like, this is my new family. So overall, this is more or less the whole thing about fostering. And I think, it is a very difficult job. So whilst you are doing this very difficult job, what kind of support do you get from maybe maybe from your employer or even friends that you have around you?
There is an awful lot of support out there for foster carers, but I think the support starts with yourself. Because if you don't go into fostering with the right frame of mind, if you're going into it because you see it as an avenue to make money, it won't work for you. Because if you try and equate what you get as an allowance to the output that you have to put out there in caring for these children, the balance will never be right.
Okay.
So the first level of support starts with you. What do I want to achieve? What do I want the young people to achieve by living with me? And then it helps that I've got a husband who works alongside me 24/7 with the children. But also, before I became a foster carer, I talked it over with my children. I asked them how they felt about children being in their space and within the time that's allocated to them, and my extended family. And our friends knew that this is a choice that we made. So, we started off by asking people how they felt about it, and having people say yes was a big push for us, but also educating other people outside that there are things, that we can do with our lives. It doesn't have to be 9 to 5 going into an office. I think stigmatically, as a foster carer, you're not considered as a professional.
Okay.
So just teaching people as well that this is a profession. We are doing this not only to develop the child and help the child to get good outcomes, but for us to get good outcomes. The possibilities of the different avenues that fostering can take you into. So professionally, I've developed so much more since I became a foster carer. That's because great. I wanted more from just being an at-home mom to being a profession. And one of the things that I've really thoroughly enjoyed from this was the fact that I go out now and I can deliver training courses. With the experience I have, I can deliver, and it's the targets that I set for myself along the way.
That's great. So one of the very interesting things is as Black people, we definitely, that is maybe an innate thing. We do have the opportunity, maybe whether it is cultural, whether it's a society that we live in, to look after other children, which can be our nephews, our nieces, and sometimes all these things are done without being paid. So obviously we have that innate ability to be able to look after ourselves, look after other children, which we will definitely encourage for others to be able to look at. So one of the very interesting things is, Angela, as a Black person, as a foster carer, have you always had to foster Black children?
No. I think if we go back some time ago, when I first started, the local authorities would always try and ethnically match children. So of Asian descent, I think they would always say, okay, Asian children or Black Caribbean children. But we were placed we had 3 siblings who were placed with us, who were from Pakistan.
Okay.
And they found it extremely hard, and circumstances bringing them into care was horrific for them. And then to come into a black family, I think it was twice
Whoa.
horrific for
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
because they were taught that black people were nasty. They didn't have nice houses. The food was not good.
Okay.
So the first couple of weeks that we had the children, we noticed that every night they would have T-shirts all over the pillows. They wouldn't cover with our blankets. And we had to hire a chef.
Okay.
And we did everything we could to please these children. But within a few weeks, they didn't want the food that was being prepared for them anymore. And they started eating our food, and the relationship between us got a lot better. The T-shirts disappeared from the pillowcases.
Okay.
And those young people, we did a special guardianship order on. That was another thing we did. They grew to love us, and we absolutely loved them. And eventually those young people took it all the way to the House of Commons, to pioneer. They became the first pioneers for non-ethnically placed foster placements, and won and did exceptionally well, fighting for placements.
That's great. That's great. And I know, as Angela continued to talk on screen, Angela is a very humble person. But I think, you know what, that is what we are about. Where there are achievements, we need to be able to blow it. Angela has received an award, from a very interesting person, which can be a bit of a controversial subject. Angela, tell us about who this person is and what that particular award was from.
So fostering is one of the unglorified jobs that people get almost, I wouldn't say forced into, but you end up opening up your home and you're very unrecognised. But maybe, I think it was about 9 years ago, I was awarded by then the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, who is now our current Prime Minister, an award for outstanding achievement in fostering. And that award came by the nominations for my previously looked after children.
Okay.
So, and we also, Richard and myself, were recognised by the black community. I'm also a florist and do a lot of work around parties and entertaining, and was also given an award by them, knowing that I was a foster carer, and it was called the Calabash Awards. So for that year I also received an award for community work.
That's great. So talking about this florist thing, Angela, I continue to say Angela continued to downplay her achievement. Angela, you were doing what would you say florist job for a very important location. Talk us through that as well.
Okay, so
I know Angela doesn't want to talk about it, but please, we want to hear it. Where was Angela doing this?
I absolutely love flowers, and I got my degree as a fashion designer. And one of the things that I chose to specialise in is bridal bouquets, and it took me into funeral arrangements. And we had a very small shop in West London, and a customer came in and was so impressed with one of the bouquets I made for them and invited me to do the flowers for the House of Commons, and I did that for 3 years in a row.
Guys, House of Commons, man. All right, go ahead. 3 years in a row.
Yes.
That is a big achievement, guys. We need to celebrate it. Go ahead.
So yeah, I still do my floristry. It's my time away from fostering. So when I get an order in, I've actually taught every child that I have in my care how to put arrangements together, and we get the children very involved in gardening. But yes, my floristry side took a bit of a backseat when I became a full-time foster carer, but still love it. It's still my passion.
That's great. So in terms of the achievement, Angela, just like I said, not just Angela and Richard are definitely high flyers. The very interesting thing is Richard is also doing something on the side, which is definitely going to blow your mind. We're soon going to be talking to Richard, so stand by, okay? And maybe I'll give you a clue, especially the party goers, yeah? You will definitely soon meet Richard as well, but he's also a foster carer. Now, one of the things that I will be asking is, taking on the role as a foster carer may have, I don't know, that may be my view. Did they have any toll on your own children? Or what was their view, or what were your children's own view about you taking on fostering?
So I think having looked after children before we became foster carers, I realised the importance of the whole family involvement. So once Richard and I decided that we were going to do this, we spoke to our children, who were very much teenagers at the time. I think my daughter might have been about 16. And we said, okay, this is something that we'd like to do. How do you feel about it? My children were very, very, very open to it. And my daughter currently is on the completion of a mental health degree. So they've grown up to appreciate the need for children to be cared for. The downside to it is that it does take away their time. So, you know, my daughter, who is now 35, just kind of feels that...
Don't start working Angela's age. That's not going to work. That's great.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You know, she sort of still very much says, my mum, my time, but has agreed and become a backup carer to me. So if Richard and I need some time out, she will step in and take over that role, and liked it so much that she went on to look at how she could help in future years to come. And my son, who's currently an international DJ, is very much of the opinion that he one day would like to become a foster carer. And the children are not foster children to my children. They become their brothers or their sisters.
That's great.
And I've got grandchildren who call looked after children aunties and uncles. So our family are very much into
welcoming other people.
Welcoming, absolutely.
And it doesn't matter whether the person is coming in as a looked after, or, you know, whatever their circumstance may be. And I think for me, I'll be very much, you know, I'm humbled by the, you know, the role that you are in. But equally, I'm sure somebody is out there who is asking themselves, you know, yes, I'm seeing a foster carer. How can I become a foster carer? And if I even want to go on this path, can I have access to Angela and speak to her so that she can bring me on board? Angela, what are some of the things that you reckon that somebody needs as a black person to become a foster carer?
I think primarily you've really got to want to make a difference into a child's life. If you're doing it because it's an opportunity to enhance your own life, and I'm talking about financially, because there are financial rewards to being a foster carer, then no. You'll manage it for a while. You've got to want to make that difference. It doesn't become a life change. It's a life enhancer. In the same way, you know, you talk to married couples who have never had children, and one of their regrets is not having children. And I think as a foster carer, you don't have that regret, and you'll never have that regret, because you're always able to pass something on to a child. Rewards are not amazing, and, you know, I've said this to you on sort of a couple of occasions. You don't always get the thank you, but when you can see a child who maybe didn't have an opportunity and is now doing something really good with their life. I mean, we've seen children come into care that we would have expected maybe to die because of the conditions that they come in and leave and go back to. I mean, as an example, we had a young girl come into our care who we called an habitual suicider. She thought it was amazing to take overdose of tablets, and it was very much learnt behaviour from the family background. Well, now she has one of the most amazing hairdressing shops in Ealing Broadway, and has won outstanding awards for creativity. So to see that happen, for us, that is the biggest reward that we can have. So Do I have any advice? Just go into it to want an outcome, and the outcome is really just to see a child smile.
That's great. And if anybody is out there thinking about, yes, I've heard all this, I think it ticked my box. Can I have contact with Angela, who can possibly mentor me, hold my hand for me to become a foster carer? Is Angela in a position to be able to give us a commitment?
Absolutely, hands in the air.
Okay, guys, you've had it on record, okay? She's definitely giving us the thumbs up. So if you by any means watch this video, you can definitely get in contact with us directly. And I think that is what we'll prefer, okay? Instead of handing over Angela's details where she is busy, people calling her all the time. So if you leave any message in the comment section for you wanting to make contact with Angela, we will make contact with Angela so that, you know what, you can establish that kind of a relationship for her to bring you on board. Overall, Angela, I would say, you know, whilst we're talking about all this, I have this other person who, you know, although he may not be playing music now, he's equally waiting for his turn. And I definitely had to grab Richard, okay? So this is not to say goodbye to Angela, but maybe just a little break. Yeah, so that I grab Richard because Richard is a bit of, I don't know whether to use the right word, camera shy. He didn't want to come on board, but I need to grab him before he tells me he needs to go to the garage. Yeah? So stand by as I bring Richard along. Guys, just like I said to you, Richard definitely didn't want to come on screen. But you know what? There are two main things that or maybe three main things that, you know what, I cannot let this slip, okay? I am very cautious of my own accent when I speak. And I think it's really important that people say, oh, no, you don't talk like me. And it's important. But equally, the kind of work that we do, we need to be who we are. That's our identity. And the very interesting thing is that ticks the box for Richard as well because I'm really in love with his own accent as well. Okay. The other thing is, I'm sure by this time, people are really wondering why Richard is wearing a cap. That's his choice. But under the cap, Richard, would you mind, please, just swinging it around so that, you know, yeah, man, you know. Richard has got his dread as well, which is really, really important to him in terms of his own identity. Because obviously, in terms of the work that he does, promoting the children or the young people's identity is equally important. So this is his own identity. And finally, being a male foster carer, you know, these things do break the narrative or the stereotypes that are out there. So for me to be able to get Richard on board, I need to make sure I stop talking before Richard say to me, Galan, he's gone. Yeah? Richard, welcome on board.
Well, give thanks, give thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'm sure by now people are already guessing, where is Richard from? Richard, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Kingston, Jamaica, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Came here 1983.
1983. So
Yeah.
for the young ones who were even not born by then, you know, he was already here. Yeah. So 1983 till now, what has Richard been doing?
Well, when I came in this country, I used to do the building work. Used to do building work, then move along, tried to step up. Me and the wife decided to go in the fostering thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But whilst Richard has been doing fostering, there is something else that I know he does, you know, in terms of his own interest. Richard, give us the music vibe as well.
Well, from in Jamaica still, I used to play with my cousin's sound, Flames Disco. Came here in the 80s, like I said, 83, do something for myself, start a sound system thing. Been going on, then my two sons take it over. I have a young son now by the name of DJ Scandalous.
Check him
Yeah,
out.
DJ
Check him out.
Scandalous, Matrix Supreme Sound, and he's an international DJ, tour the world and so on. But otherwise, I just do it as a hobby now because he's the one who taking over and so on.
Okay.
And Instagram, they call me Father Matrix.
Okay. So make
Matrix
sure you
Supreme,
follow.
yeah.
Make sure you follow on Instagram as well. That's really important. So apart from the music side, what, Richard, you are doing on a day-to-day basis is fostering.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to be a foster carer?
Well, to be honest, see certain things what happening through the world. You know, kids need need a bit of love. And I'm not saying, there's reason why kids come into fostering, but you ought to show a bit more. Said, boy, this can work. We can give you some love. We can give you a life. Give you something else. Different than what you wasn't getting before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, as a black, male, as a black father, as an adult, I think we need such black role models, okay, for the black community as well as, other ethnic groups as well. And I think I'm really, moved by what Richard is doing as well as together with Angela. Richard, if any person or maybe a father out there is thinking, you know what, can I be a foster carer? What would be your advice to them?
Well, I can't say just go for it, just go for it because a lot of youth out there need a male figure in them life. See it, and if you love the youth them, you just try a little thing and help them out, and it go, see it, because one day they will say, give thanks,
Okay.
Richard or Tom or Jerry, show me certain things, and me fulfill where more heart in a life, you see.
That's great. So Richard, and just like every other foster carer is out there, is showing young people the ropes, okay? Bringing them along so that they understand that they can do things in a much positive way. Richard, overall, if anybody is saying, you know what, can I have contact with Richard so that I can speak to them whilst I may want to take on that role as a foster carer, would you be ready to mentor somebody like that?
Yes, long time. Oh, every
Okay.
time, yeah.
So what I will do, just like I talked to you about Richard and Angela, is I would rather, if you want to have contact with any of them, you've got definitely be able to leave your comments, and we will do our very best for you to be able to make contact with them. Overall, Richard, if you are to say anything to, the viewers out there about a project like this or about what you do as a foster carer, what would you say to people?
Boy, if you're going in it and you want to do it, just do it for the love from your heart, see. It's not a money thing, but if you do something like this, you have to do it from your heart. You see what I mean, sir?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You see, Richard has made me change it. Yeah, man. And that's the most important thing. So when young people or children come to you, do you, maybe as the sun is shining, do you give them the opportunity to have maybe a barbecue?
Yeah, man, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And show them everything. The music, make them hear it, the food, the type of cooking, everything.
Okay.
Just make them know our style of living as well.
And Richard was also a chef. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you think about the dynamics, if you are living with a family where you've got different skills, Angela being a florist, Richard being a chef, being a DJ, so it's not just about your day to day. They are equipping you with those skills as well, that by the time you grow up, I can be this, I can be that, and whatever background that you are from, it doesn't matter. They have fostered all these children from different backgrounds. Richard, thank you very much today, and I am really humbled, and thanks very much for having me.
Right. Give thanks, and thanks to you as well, right?
That's
big
great.
Up, big up.
That's great. Guys, if this is the very first time you're watching the channel, all that we're saying to you is make sure you subscribe. Black Next Gen, all that we're doing is we are looking for black people, minority groups who are doing amazing things. So if you've got any story of that nature, please get in contact with us. Make sure you subscribe, you share, and click on the notification button. And we are very sure the next story will be something that will equally amaze you or be a question that you are looking for an answer to. Thank you very much. My name is Nana SA, and thanks for watching.